As far as the Tejas is concerned, it's a good aircraft, capable aircraft, but is it fit enough to counter the Chinese? The answer is a vehement no. Is Tejas Mark II? Maybe. AMCA? Definitely yes.
This is StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh. Revi. Our guest and special analyst today is Air Marshal D.K. Patnaik. He's been the Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Eastern Air Command. Air Marshal, thanks again for coming in and giving us your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Lots been changing on our boundaries, but if you're looking at area that you commanded not so long back, Bangladesh itself, tremendous tumult inside after Sheikh Hasina left. But in your understanding, sir, what are the dangers of the current situation for India?
If you look at it, if you go by the history itself, since its first partition way back in 1905, 120 years, the signs were always there, if you ask me. Though 1971 did make a difference, but the intrinsic people, the local people, their thoughts, always had that little doubt to keep us military students on our toes as far as what is likely to happen. And you will be surprised to know that one of the thoughts that did come to our mind when we were discussing at higher levels was not exactly this, but almost this, as to what would be the situation should, from a friendly Bangladesh, it becomes to either hostile or a semi-hostile state. So as we speak today, because of the changes which has happened post August 5th, not that it has become hostile, but the indications are that these changes which are going to happen, which both India and Bangladesh and the countries around, particularly China and Pakistan, are going to see, is going to be a change which will probably not be too good and not in very much in favor, giving a slight stop, or I would say a friction, not allowing our main intent of a Viksit Bharat in 2047. Not that it will impinge much, but fact of the matter is we need to factor this sudden change which has come.
This factoring in, sir, how does it affect, say, the armed forces?
Armed forces, it does affect significantly. If you are, you must be aware, as the whole country is aware, it's almost a 4,100 kilometer international border. Part of it has been, the boundary has kind of a fencing has been made, but about close to 1,000 kilometers of fencing is still open. It's a porous border. The movement of Bangladeshi citizens or Rohingyas, what have you, does continue to happen, and one may think as to why can't we stop them. It's a fact that it's not only porous, the terrain is such that it is not very easy to have a 24/7 patrol and stop them from entry. But fact of the matter is, maybe it will take another 3 to 4 years, though the timeline was end of 24. I don't see it happening till another 3 to 4 years when some kind of boundary will happen. Now, with infiltrations taking place and a near hostile country and its administration, there are two fears. One is which may immediately happen or may happen in the near future, is their support to the insurgents which are there in the northeast. Then the smuggling and all those activities will continue, and the infiltration and movement of Rohingyas or Bangladeshis towards Indian side will only increase. So that has a major effect on the country's financial status. And coming to armed forces per se, as far as the army and the navy is concerned, I will not comment much on it since I am from the Air Force. I will stick more to the Air Force part of it. As far as the Air Force is concerned, a couple of years back, uh, there was a slight news item wherein they were in the process of procuring Rafale fighters. While money or whatever reasons they did not go ahead with it. But after this change has happened, a couple of things have changed vis-a-vis their relation with Pakistan. First and foremost, their NOC, which was a mandatory requirement for any Pakistani to come to the country, uh, there are a lot of waivers have been there. Visa, they have given directions to make it as quick as possible. And in the last 1 month, they have restarted their shipping routes to Bangladesh. And of course, in that, they have also ordered ammunition for the tanks, ammunition for shells, and of course, RDX. Now, coming to the Air Force again, going back to Rafale, the Pakistan is also producing the JF-17s. They are touching about 20 to 25 or maybe 30 aircraft per year. I won't be surprised if maybe in the next year or so, they will negotiate across to have even the JF-17s operating from Bangladesh. Now, it's not something very immediately going to happen because I say another 2 or 3 years, and compare that with our rate of procurement of fighters or what have you, or the availability of the Tejas. The situation is not too happy as one would want it to be. And as a Eastern Air Command, I would say that we may have the aircraft there, but it's a matter of numbers, and they are depleting. It's not increasing; they are depleting. With the MiG-21, some of them going to be put on for good. We will have reduced numbers, so that is going to make a lot of difference as far as deterrence capability of the country is concerned.
When you say there is a fear that the JF-17s could be transferred to Bangladesh, and you're pointing out, our depleting strength anyway. Before August 5th, our only potential threat was from China in that area. Now, if you're saying that Bangladesh, what could they possibly do with JF-17s? I mean, why would they be a threat to us?
If you see the geography of our country, very important thing called the chicken's neck.
Yeah.
Now, chicken's neck is only 22 kilometers wide, and all movements, whether it is air, ground, what have you, everything has to happen in the 22-kilometer corridor. Earlier, whatever movements were happening from rest of the part of the country towards the northeast, any input as to what movement is happening was by and large not getting as the Chinese would want it to be, primarily because of high hill feature terrains. Even if they had, say, a radar position, they were not getting the exact figure. However, this side being completely plain area, one or two radars being positioned there, while they may not shoot down our aircraft which is flying through the chicken's neck, but their awareness will increase. And from a friendly situation country to have a hostile or a near hostile environment where should a situation happen wherein our armed forces get activated against our northern neighbor, it was bad enough to have a collision with Pakistan, but the situation becomes a few notches slightly more difficult if you have even Bangladesh near hostile to our developments that will take place. So that is a matter of concern. And do we have an answer for the timing? The answer is no. Primarily because it's an independent country. We cannot infringe onto their international rights. They can do what they want to do. But a friendly country there would have always helped. Not so friendly doesn't help much.
So you were saying one of the fears of a not so friendly Bangladesh could potentially be, and we should be prepared for it, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh nexus, that another front that would open.
I would put it this way that there's something known as a deterrent quotient. If you go back in history about say 40 years, 50 years, deterrent quotient vis-a-vis Pakistan definitely was okay. With China was also okay. It's only the last 15, 20 years it's been edging more towards China having a slightly upper hand, not because of anything, but because it had been equipping and modernizing itself. Till about 4 or 5 years back, in spite of them having a large number of modern weapons, the terrain was such that it did not permit them to have a better edge than the Indian forces. Particularly, I'm talking in terms of the Air Force. We had the capability, our airfields were at almost near sea level or a couple of 100 feet here and there. And all their launches for the Chinese was always at upwards of 8 to 10,000 feet minimum. It was about 15,000 in general. That has had severe restrictions as far as operations capability is concerned. Now with their sixth generation, claimed sixth generation with large distances, as much as 1100 kilometers radius of action, their capability, the deterrence that India is supposed to have, and with the diminishing resources, it's not a very happy situation one commander would like to have. So one would be seeking for more aircraft, more platforms like AWACS to be around, just to have a deterrent quotient, ensuring what does a deterrent quotient do? It ensures that no misadventures are done by them. But with a deterrent quotient against you, the chances of small skirmishes developing into our country restricting itself and bowing down to the wrong desires only increases. That's what I meant when I said that it's going to affect. And with Bangladesh getting armed with, say, JF-17s, while it may not openly take up, but that could happen maybe after 4 years, 5 years, keeping in mind the training, the production, and the suitability of the platforms and procurement. So all that is again related to financial status of that country as well as Pakistan. Pakistan would love to give it to make more money, but probably our leaders are aware of the fact that financially Bangladesh is not as good as they would want it to be, and to reach a stage wherein their deterrent potential increases, they have to do a lot of work, which will again take 4 or 5 years, because at the end of it, it's all money game. Here comes China. If China would want to put more pressure, maybe it will give more soft loans, which probably the earlier regime was not falling prey to. But they are in a situation wherein power supply, everything, what have you, because it's almost a landlocked country except for access from the Bay of Bengal. So things will start showing itself after about 2 years, 3 years. What is happening day to day are things which I'm sure the Government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs, are fairly capable, and they are doing the needful. What needs to be taken care of is what's going to happen, the situation after about 3 to 4 years, when things stabilize in Bangladesh, post elections, pre elections, what have you, and they will start having the money to start procuring the weapons. And to counter that, our government, I would urge our government to start processing the MRFA so that procurement, of course, it takes 3 to 4 years. It's there in place. So it is the deterrent quotient which will stop any misadventures, whether it is China, Pakistan, or could be even Bangladesh.
The time period, like you're saying, to induct for the whole process itself takes so long. So how would you see, Marshal, the movement of indigenization that India is going, especially in your sector, which I mean the Air Force?
Yeah. As far as the Tejas is concerned, it's a good aircraft, capable aircraft, but is it fit enough to counter the Chinese? The answer is a vehement no. Is Tejas Mark II? Maybe. AMCA? Definitely yes. But where are we as far as the Tejas Mark II is concerned and AMCA? We are at least 5 to 10 years, 10 to 15 years for the AMCA, and maybe for 5 years. And those also have got issues of availability of engines. Because of the non-availability of engines, the whole progress and the process is going to get delayed. Any delay, it's like an air ticket. You buy the ticket on time, it's going to be cheap. You more late you buy, the cost is going to go up. As the costs go up, then again it starts. It's a circular process. So earlier we take a decision because we need to have something of a equal, if not better, modern status, maybe a fifth generation or similar 4.5 generation aircraft available to counter any movements that the Chinese PLAF is already capable of. So if we have that capability, then maybe those misadventures will not happen. And that is what the idea of having an armed force, not to fight a war, but to make sure that deterrence is there.
Again, to the points that you were raising earlier in this conversation, just wanted a little bit more clarity on that. You're saying when India and India's armed forces have to prepare for this potential eventuality of a near hostile, not friendly Bangladesh, possible nexus with Pakistan and China in terms of armed forces down the line. You're saying 3-4 years it would take, and you were mentioning, say, inputs because of the terrain. Have I understood it correctly? It's because the Chinese chicken's neck itself find it difficult to get information because of the terrain. When on this front, if they are radars, that information could be passed on.
Could be passed, they could know, and it is a giveaway as to what all is happening. And if they want, or for whatever reason, should they become overbearing, and if they want, they can create problems of a simple trying to threaten some of our aircraft either through land-based missiles or maybe a simple fighter aircraft coming close by. It could disturb, which erstwhile would not have been the case.
So, Marshal, if you want to round up this conversation with the fears of a potential non-friendly Bangladesh and what it means for India and what India should be doing in the meantime.
If you do take a larger scan, the best way to counter a possible hostile country is economics and external affairs. So, if we are in a position to make them understand that economically it's not a viable thing to not be friendly with India, either by means of assisting them financially or if worse comes to worse, kind of make it very difficult and very costly for them to even say do trade. Earlier, most of their exports used to go from their docks to our docks and then fly out. Now, anything that they do, it will cost a lot of money, and if the production cost is high, the profits go down and the economy starts getting faulted. So all this is possible, but that should be in a larger. The idea is like 2 days or yesterday, our Foreign Secretary was there. He had a dialogue with the CEO of that is Mr. Yunus, and whatever is happening, maybe for 1 or 2 months, maybe even 3 months, this skirmishes will happen. We need to be mature as a country. We need to be mature as media. We need to be mature as politicians. Not to raise this issue, because raising the issue actually causes more conflagration and makes a weaker party more belligerent. So, as a larger neighbor and a more prosperous neighbor, we, I think the government of India per se is following this tactics of taking it easy. But what comes in the media is not very encouraging, particularly since this is the only Hindu majority country, and a particular religion is getting, shown to be persecuted. So we need to take it easy. I'm not saying take it lying down, but at the end of it, we have to remember they are Bangladeshi citizens. They may be Hindus, but they are Bangladeshi citizens, and they need to. I give it to them to take care of their citizens, and the CEO, being a Nobel Peace Prize winner, suddenly come into action. He will take the necessary steps, and this move by the Foreign Secretary visiting them probably will, in a matter of time, ease off the things. And it's better to do whatever it takes to have a friendly Bangladesh than to make it to such a point wherein they have no choice but to take help of China, which is more than ready, and mend fences with Pakistan in a big way. Because I'm worried about the insurgency in the northeast, and there have been voices, very again belligerent voices, for them to procure JF-17, and one of them has gone to the extent of even having a nuclear understanding with Pakistan. So these are not very good signs. So maturity in the long run probably will ensure peace in the whole area.
Hey, Marshal Patnaik, again, thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience and expertise with us and our viewers.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And to all our viewers, do follow all our social media handles for the latest, the articles that we put up on our website, or interviews like this with Air Marshal D.K. Patnaik that are on our YouTube channel. This is StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh, Revi.